So I did a degree, my undergraduate degree, which was in psychology and sociology. It was a double honours degree, trying to understand why people do what they do. At the time, I did play a lot of sport and everything, so I had a keen interest in sport. At the end of my degree, I actually became the sports president at my university, which actually led me to do a master's in sports science, health and fitness. And during that time, I worked for Sport England. So I was actually looking at trying to increase the number of people who were engaging in physical activity. And that was off the back of this huge obesogenic map that had been produced in the UK from the Foresight report, that basically said, hey, it's not just about energy in and energy out. We need to get all these other things kind of under control. Following my work there, another thing, obviously being at the Royal Parks, was all around exercise in natural environments. So beautiful, beautiful parks over in the UK. And my PhD was on the biopsychosocial benefits of exercise in natural environments. So you can see where I've started to go from the pure just sport, people getting involved, all of those types of things, to actually the environment. It can really impact all these other things and what we're doing. So if we're doing activity, if we actually combine it with other parts of the environment, for example, or where we are, we get these whole host of other benefits. I guess at the time as well, one of the things I realised, particularly in the work for Sport England, was simply by telling people that this is a good thing to do, it doesn't actually work. At the time when I was at Liverpool John Moores University, the book Nudge came out, which was, it suddenly everyone was like, oh my goodness, this is going to solve everything. This theory that's come through from behavioural science or psychology more broadly, suddenly it's going to change the world. Surprise, surprise. It didn't quite hit the mark on some of our more complex problems. And believe it or not, trying to get people to be physically active or participate in sport or whatever it may be, it is a complex problem. It's not that simple. I was playing netball. I was a token English person on what was a predominantly Australian New Zealand team. They were like, you should move to Australia. We think you'd fit in, you'd love it there. It's sporty, which it is, love it. So I did, I came over, I looked at it, and I probably never looked back. I was ever so fortunate to get permanent residency here and be sponsored by Victoria. And then I met Liam, the director of behaviour. So I applied for a job. They were looking specifically for people who'd come from a systems thinking background. I think previously, or even now in some instances, there's been a bit of a dichotomy. So people have seen behaviour change as the opposite end of systems thinking or systems change. Thankfully, the two are now working much, much better together. One of the things since moving to Behaviour Works is that that resonates with me is people are not like you. So understanding more around how different things affect people's behaviour and why they do the things they do has been really important to then developing up interventions that are most likely to work, particularly with that systems lens alongside the behavioural lens. I think behavioural science and behaviour change, it's become a bit of a buzzword. People tend to talk around categories of behaviours rather than actual specific actions. So, for example, we'll talk about, someone needs to be kind to someone else. Well, what do we mean by that? What does that actually look like in practice? If we had to explain to someone else what that looks like, how can we make sure that we're giving people the right guidance? And that might sound really pernickety, but actually it's really important because many people don't understand that what they think is potentially being kind actually could be quite offensive to some people. So providing actual guidance of what something looks like is actually really important. And I think that's a real challenge. When you're trying to get people to do something different, being able to articulate the actions and not just providing a category of behaviours, it is really important. So I think that's one of the challenges that we're facing among quite a few in our profession at this moment in time.